After the release of her massively triumphant second studio album, Happier Than Ever, back in 2021, Billie Eilish is back with not one, but two brand new tunes. And they're not really what I was expecting, but in a really good way. Let me explain. So we're kind of at the end of the first leg of the campaign for Happier Than Ever. And the first leg has seen Billie draw crowds the size that you'd expect to see at a Rolling Stones concert, to be honest. She's toured Europe, she's conquered Britain, and she's even headlined Glastonbury Festival. And she's done all of this at the ripe old age of 20. That's right, the youngest person ever to headline Glastonbury Festival. And just maybe when you think, you know what, Billie, you're 20, you've achieved all of this, why not just put your feet up, have a glass of red, given how hard you've worked on this campaign? She then surprises us with even more music. And I have to tell you, I'm really liking what I'm hearing. And I would say that Billie's back with a bang, but it's quite the opposite really. Billie's released two songs called TV and the 30th, and as the title of the release in its entirety, Guitar Songs, suggests, both songs are essentially stripped back acoustic ballads. And the two songs sound like they're kind of siblings, they kind of sound like they're related to each other in some way. Like they were conceived around the same time in the same environment. Both songs even sound like they're in the same key. In fact, the descending acoustic chord pattern that we hear start and end TV is pretty much the one that opens the 30th. And I think that these songs sounding almost related, like flowing into each other very well, is quite a nice touch. And you know, this kind of makes sense because Billie said in an interview with Zayn Lowe very recently that these two songs were released in isolation. You know, they're not really going to be part of a future album. They were just two songs that herself and Phineas wrote at the time, and they just felt right to put it out in that moment. And I think that was a really good idea because these two songs feel really appropriate for the present day. The lyrics on TV, for example, contain themes of denial and escapism, both very topical when you consider the state of the world right now. It kind of feels like it's falling apart, to be honest. But my favourite two lines in the song TV have got to be, "The internet's gone wild watching movie stars on trial while they're overturning Roe v. Wade." Obviously referencing there the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, which was streamed on YouTube. How strange is that? There's nothing like that happens in the UK, and even I found myself being sucked into that like the rest of the internet. And obviously the appalling overturning of the Roe v. Wade legislation. And the use of the word while in that two-liner suggests to me that Billie's making some sort of observation about our world right now. I think she's trying to say that, you know, we're living in a world right now where all of these horrific things seem to be happening all at the same time. And as people, are we just, you know, using the internet and live streams of movie star trials to escape reality instead of facing these issues head on? And you can tell that this song was written, recorded and released in a very, very short space of time. For example, you know, referencing Roe v. Wade, that is something that is still very, very fresh in the hearts and minds of most Americans. And hearing about that event spoken about in song form definitely adds to the emotion of what a lot of people are feeling right now, I think. But the thing that stood out to me the most about these two new songs has got to be the production. Now, it's no secret that Billie Eilish's brother Phineas is the mastermind behind Billie's sound, and Phineas has been blowing me away, quite frankly, since the day that I discovered him. And for me, he's by far the most interesting and novel producer around today. He has such an unconventional yet simplistic approach to production and uses everyday sounds to create beats and ambience in Billie's and his own music. And I can relate to this somewhat. You know, many of you may know or may not know that I write and produce my own music as well. And I can tell you now, one of the main things that lots of producers struggle with is making something sound big when you don't have a lot going on. I like the songs TV in the 30th, where it's literally an acoustic guitar and a vocal. Making that sound big and full is a really difficult thing to do in production. It's very difficult to, one, make it fill the space, and then two, make it sound interesting when there's literally just an acoustic guitar that's playing, you know, just chords or a chord pattern all the way through the song. And as a result, a lot of producers often overproduce acoustic tracks. And I've heard many songs where there are unnecessary sounds and textures that just don't need to be there. And the result, quite frankly, is that you often end up with an overproduced mess that has lost the intimacy and the organic feel of an acoustic track. But as you'd expect, Phineas has just gone and knocked it out of the park on this one again. The acoustic guitar in both of these songs just sounds so crisp and full. full and really upfront in the mix, but at the same time, they don't get in the way of Billie's vocals frequency-wise, which is a really difficult thing to achieve. And it's just one guitar, I think. I think in TV it doesn't even sound like it's doubled, which is just crazy. But the really special thing production-wise in TV is how the song builds really subtly. There's a moment around the 3-minute 50 mark where Billie sings, maybe I'm the problem. And you can hear a crowd clapping and singing these lines back to Billie, slowly fading into the song as it reaches its climactic ending. For me, that really brings the song to life, and it's kind of magical hearing so many voices sing that back to you. And I think I know how they achieved this. Billie and Finneas actually debuted the song TV before it was released at a few live shows. I think the first one was in Manchester on the 7th of June of this year, and I reckon that they played to a click track and recorded the performances across their European tour, and they added one of the performances to their final recording.
Maybe come on. Maybe sing. Again.
I think it's really inventive and such a cool idea. And if I was going to guess, probably one of Finneas's ideas, one of his many, many genius ideas. The guy is just a genius when it comes to production, to be honest. And the best way I think I found to describe the production on both TV and the 30th to me is there's not a lot going on, yet there's loads going on at the same time. I think Finneas just knows how to be subtle. I think he knows that the acoustic guitar and the vocal have to be at the forefront and at the focal point of the mix, and then he just knows how to subtly fill the space around it with pads and different textures. And I mentioned before that this release is called Guitar Songs for a fairly obvious reason. I mean, it's Billie and a guitar, basically. But for me, in the wider context of the charts and the music scene today, where the guitar isn't anywhere near as prominent as it used to be, I am all for Billie and Finneas flying the flag for guitar music, quite frankly. They're doing an outstanding job, and let's be honest, they're just writing some of the best songs around at the moment, along with Sam Fender, of course. But I am interested to know what you guys think about this new direction and this new sound. Do you want to see this of Billie going forward, maybe on her third album? Do you want to see more acoustic textures like you've heard in these two songs? Or do you think this is just kind of a point in time and we're going to see much more electronic and dancey Billie going forward, not too dissimilar from some of the more upbeat songs on her first two albums? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, really helps the channel out. And if you really like the video, make sure you click the subscribe button for more content like this. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.